Let's transition on to Lance Armstrong now, and I want to talk about the lawsuit that he and his lawyers filed yesterday, Tracy, and then it was quickly dismissed by the judge for this temporary restraining order against the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, who have basically, back in June, accused him of this massive conspiracy of doping and are basically asking him to stop competing and to withdraw or give up his 7 Tour de France titles. What is the sort of long view on this? How is Lance Armstrong fighting for his reputation? What beyond that is he fighting for at this point, assuming he'll refile this?
Well, I think he is fighting for his reputation. I think he's fighting to be left alone in a lot of ways, which is why it's so ironic that they threw out the request for the TRO saying that we don't want to help you increase your popularity.
Right.
Like, because court cases always increase an athlete's popularity. I mean, you get your court case trading cards and you get your court case bobblehead dolls. You get your Roger Clemens perjury trial bobblehead collector item. I mean, that may be the dumbest thing I've ever heard for a reason to throw out a court case.
Right.
There isn't a judge in the land that can make Lance Armstrong more or less popular. He is what he is.
Right.
He is coming after this with a lot of barrels because he has a lot of barrels. USADA does not. And this is like Roger Clemens and a lot of these other retired athletes. At what point do you fish or cut bait in trying to bring them down, knock them off their pedestal, keep them out of the Hall of Fame, whatever your goal, ultimate goal is, if you're USADA or your Congress or your whoever you are. He is fighting back in a way that others haven't. He has the ability to do that because there is literally no physical evidence in play against him.
Right.
Nothing.
And what he fears is that if this thing goes, if he challenges this as he would, that it's basically a no-win situation for him in court, despite him never being testing positive for doping over 500 to 600 times in his career. LeVar, is this basically I mean, I don't want to ask you sort of straight up, but is this a USADA sort of witch hunt against him? I did just ask you.
You have to ask yourself, again, I think Tracy touched on it, what's the purpose? Witch hunt, you know, I don't know everything from behind the scenes.
What's the motive?
But looking at it from my vantage point, yeah, it makes you wonder what is the motive here? Because if you don't have any physical evidence against this man for doping, what is your ultimate goal in doing what you're doing? This man is an American icon. You're talking about someone, again, I mentioned this off air, who has been in the same discussions as Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan, and Jerry Rice as America's greatest athletes ever in the history of sports, athletics. This man is an iconic figure who transcended sports because of his brave fight and the awareness that he brought to a disease and cancer. I just wonder, is there jealousy involved in this? Is there envy involved in this? It's not enough that you won all these Tour de France's and made it look so easy, but then you create a rubber band and you generate millions and millions of dollars and you're America's sweetheart and this and that, but there's people over here that they thought they were just as good as you but didn't have the same breaks. So I'm going to say this about you, whether it's true or not. The interesting thing about it is the way people have jumped on it and reacted to it without enough knowledge or evidence to really condemn them. And I think that's what's wrong with our society today. Is just so many outlets, so many different bodies that are so quick to do these things that the doping agency did. I just think that it's kind of, when you really look at it, I think it's very irresponsible of them to do it with the lack of evidence that they have.
Well, don't rush to judgment just yet. This will be a prolonged
we'll have
court
to see.
case going
but
forward.
Like I said, I'm basing it from on looking at it on stage. I'm not behind stage.
Right.